Okay, and now I'm going to talk about the mace or mace bell and the Gada or the Indian style of mace. Now, neither of these are clubs, as you may well have noticed. However, they are used by swinging them. And I think they're a very important tool to use if you're going to go into this whole swinging world. Very useful, and definitely one of the biggest teachers that I've had with regards to learning swinging mechanics in general. Easy to get to grips with. Use two hands, you swing it around one way and over the other way, and that's basically it. You don't really need any more movements. You can do more movements with it, but then it's why bother. You can use one hand and then alternate hand to hand, swing left and right, but ideally just left and right with both hands. That's all you really need to do. You know, why complicate things? People do squats and presses and stuff like that. If you want to do squats and presses, go use a squat rack, go pick up some dumbbells or barbells, press them overhead. But don't think that you're training strength in a different style by using this tool. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed to be swung over the shoulder, so just use it for that. If you want to go and do other stuff, I can't stop you. I'm not just going to send up the heavens and throw lightning bolts at you. I wish I could, that'd be awesome. But, you know, each to their own. This is what I'm saying, this is my opinion, so, you know, take it or leave it. With the mace, this is what I started with. I picked this up quite a while ago. It's about 10 or 12 kg, I think. Hollow head, so you can fill it up with lead, so there's more weight in it. This is something that I made here. It's made of a piece of bamboo, light fitting and cement. And this is what I used a lot when I was in the Philippines, when I started training with bamboo. Bamboo was plentiful, so I started picking up and making these. And I really noticed a difference from having used this previously to moving to this. That with this, the weight, half of it is in the head and the rest is in the handle. With this, all the weight is in the head because the bamboo weighs maybe half a kilo of that. So it was, whoa, you know, it almost felt like it's going to take me away into the Netherlands. But both tools are definitely worth using. I recommend using these in conjunction with a steel club as well. What do I mean by this? Well, a steel club is smaller and denser. Most of the weight's easier to handle though because it's more compact. And it gives you more of a kind of whip crack when you come through. You have to control it all the way through. It's a very short and snappy movement because of the shortness of the club. With this, it's kind of in between the weights in the handle and in the head, so it kind of feels like you're trying to move like a long bar with like all the weight going through. So it's a different feel. It feels like you're trying to crank it all the way through, and it doesn't really have a particular snap to it, which is why I'm not so keen on it. And this is the other spectrum where the weight's further out and you really have to like get control of where it's going. But by blending all three, I think you'll have a more complete strength. It's something that I've experimented with. I found it allowed me to graduate up more in the weights of using this one, which is where I put a lot of my focus and attention into. So, whilst these aren't clubs, why do I recommend them? I recommend them because they're a good segue into using the other clubs. It will teach you the swinging mechanics, how to breathe, and how to move through 3 dimensions, getting the weights behind you, where this doesn't feel comfortable for a lot of people. They can't open up, whereas this will help train you to do that and make you become more comfortable. It's also cheaper to get into. Making something like this will cost you very little. Getting a steel one will cost you a bit more, but something that's hollow, you can fill it up. Though I'm not a fan of loadable things because it just kind of adds this extra element to it. Something that you can play around with. If you like it, fine, but I prefer more of a solid object. That's just me. But really definitely worth investing in, either or. Try it out. You get a pole, a bit of cement and a plastic protein tub and just give it a whirl and see if it works for you, because with all this stuff it all costs money and you want to save money at the end of the day. You want to invest in something that you want to do, make sure that you do it and make sure it's worth doing. I make sure it's worth paying the money for. Don't just buy it and then put it in the corner for 5 years and never see it again. You know, this is a long-term investment. You want to save yourself money and also find out if it's the right thing for you, because it may not be the right fit for you. You may have issues like injuries and such that you can't use it. So think about it before you invest in any of the clubs that I've talked about or maces. But definitely worth trying. I love the Gada swing, the Indian style swing. I've gone up to 40 kg on that, and that's quite an experience in itself. But definitely worth applying to your training. Will it make you the most muscular man in the world? Probably not. But you'll find that it'll bring you a lot of satisfaction if you stick with it. And that's ultimately where you want to be going. This is going to give you the satisfaction of doing something that very few people can, because it takes a lot of time, dedication to pick up the skill. Whilst this is probably the easiest to learn out of all the different skills of club swinging, I think this one is a case of simple but not necessarily easy. You can always keep graduating, going up heavier in weights and always refining your techniques. So that's it. I love clubs, I love the maces as well. So I hope that this has been useful for you, and catch you around in a bit.